There are 3 myths when it comes to dentistry, and it may be killing you. I actually took a bite into every one of them and am still paying the price. Well, today I want to help make sure that you don't take a bite of these myths, you don't let this happen to you, and you save your health. I have with me today a guest, Dr. Rebecca Edwards. She's become a good friend since we met at Need Your Cure conference last year, and we will be together again this year. Listen as Dr. Edwards explains 3 myths that are killing us with our health, and it all starts in our mouth. All right, Rebecca, it was so good to meet you last year at Need Your Cure, the event in August, and I'm so looking forward to it this year. Yet right now, let's just dive into, we're going to talk about the top 3 myths in dentistry. And I have failed all 3 of these. I have a mouth to prove I bought into the lie. And I am so excited that you are going to set a lot of people free, and they're going to know, wait a minute, I don't have to do that. I can bring healing instead. So first of all, just welcome to this video. I appreciate your time to talk about this.
Well, thank you for having me on your podcast. I consider it such an honor because I listen to you all the time on your podcast, and meeting you in person last year at Need Your Cure. I want to tell people that in God's world we don't need a dentist, and in the kingdom we will do work, but I won't be needed. And that's what I'm like, God, what will be I'll be doing in heaven is my work, because it won't be dentistry because everybody will be healed. But we can have that now through eating his food and going by his principles, getting back to the way he intended, that we shouldn't need a dentist. Because I go back and tell my patients, when we were born, he gave us everything we need to survive. And one of the things that is crazy, but we talk about this in my dental circles, is if we eat those whole foods the way we're supposed to, we shouldn't even need a toothbrush. Microbiome will take care of itself, and we won't have all those issues if we're doing the right things. Now, I'm not telling everybody not to do mechanical debridement of teeth. That means brushing, because this day and time, you need to brush your teeth, but it wasn't intended that way. But you don't even have to use toothpaste basically either. People ask me that, and I'm like, well, that's really a cosmetic thing, and we're trying to mask maybe a bad breath situation or something like that. But just the mechanical, people go, what toothpaste? And I'll go, just mechanical brushing. Don't like fluoride. So that's that's a little bit of a myth. Not that fluoride isn't an element that God created here on earth, but in the way that we get it in toothpaste and products and water and fluoridation, is overburdensome on the body and affects the thyroid health. And it also affects the pineal gland, which is the gland that kind of regulates their circadian rhythms. And people will notice, I can see an x-ray of people's heads. That's my keystone piece of equipment to evaluate my patients. And you can see the pineal gland being calcified on a lot of people. And that will throw off sleep, the melatonin, their circadian rhythm cycles. And there's a way to, that's from bromine, from brominated bread. And having that in the grocery store, you can read your ingredients. Chlorine in the water and fluoride. So that blocks the iodine, and then we don't have the iodine for our thyroid, but it does calcify our pineal gland. So that's one principle that we as biological dentists will go by. Fun fact about me, I used to love doing root canals in my traditional dentistry. I thought they were okay, that we were saving a tooth. Yes, it's a placement holder, and we do need teeth to chew. However, teeth are so intricately made, more than what we think they are, that they have all these little tubules, that thousands and thousands and thousands of miles of these little tubules that go, and we cannot clean those enough. And it's a dead organ, and we wouldn't put a dead organ in a bone in any other part of our body. So why would we keep that dead organ in our jawbone, which creates a lot of inflammation and everything? And then we go with metals. Metals in our head are not a good thing either. They even knew this in the 1800s when Mercury and there was Mad Hatter's disease and if you'll go look at Mad Hatter's disease and what are the symptoms of that, and you can Google that, you will notice a lot of people have those symptoms today. And it will actually affect your mental status. There was a whole group of dentists that said that it shouldn't be put in the mouth. And then if you were in this dental society, you could get kicked out if you put a mercury filling in there. Mercury disrupts the stomach acid, makes it weak. So if we have weakened stomach acid, we can't process proteins when we eat them correctly. I try to show my patients to get to it before it has to be repaired, or some of them will come in with little bitty cavities and they'll have a second opinion. Hey, my dentist said I should have this filled. And I'm like, well, I think if we do some changes, like eating whole foods, going back to those principles and nourishing our body and doing these few little things, we can watch it and we'll come back and readdress that and see if we can heal that tooth. And the tooth will heal if it's got good nutrients on the inside. So a lot of people think it's just from brushing on the outside, but it's actually that little tooth has a vein, artery, nerve, and lymph. And if we are taking in the nutrients our body needs, then our tooth will be nourished from the inside out, and then it'll be protected against the environment and things we put in our mouth, and you won't get a cavity.
All right, so let me just recap something you just said. So you were saying that if someone has a small cavity, it might be advantageous for them to wait, pause, start eating a very healthy diet so we can get that microbiome working for us, good bacteria even in our mouth, not just our gut, and that cavity will heal. Do you know that was considered impossible most of my life for anyone to ever admit that?
Yes, your teeth can heal just like you scrape your hand and it heals. So why couldn't a tooth heal? But we think of it as the only thing we can do is brush fluoride on it. And once it's a cavity, oh my goodness, we got to start drilling on it. I can never make it the way God made it. It's good the first
Right.
time. And once you drill and do on it makes it weaker. And there's issues with the products that we use. Try to use the best but most biocompatible product to put in someone's mouth. And that's a whole nother thing. But it'll never be as good the way God intended it. So if we can stop doing this monkey work is what I call it on teeth and just drilling and pause and maybe readjust some things and wait and see if it will heal or even stop. So there's arrested cavity. So it may have a little decay, but it's stopped. It won't progress any further and then be like a little bruise or blemish or maybe like a little scar. But if we monitor it and then we nourish our body, it will not go any further or heal.
I really wish I had met you 30 years ago. 40 years ago, because my mouth has been so abused, and I don't even like dentists anymore because it's been so abused. And it started in college, and we had a very aggressive dentist next to the college campus where I was staying, and everybody was getting fillings. Didn't even need them. We all got them, and I just cringe when I think back to those days because it set me on a path of so many mishaps with my teeth. And yet, of course, what do you do when you go to college? You start eating poorly. You do everything wrong. I was raised with a mom that always thought we should eat healthy. We grew all of our own foods. I go away to college, and by the end of the first semester, I had cavities. I didn't really have cavities. It was just like, okay, they just were a little bit soft. And he's like, oh, well, let's just fill all three of these. I'm like, okay, I didn't know any better. So number one, you said some of the false teachings. Number one was the three chemicals that are destroying our microbiome in our mouth and our teeth, which was the bromated flour, the chlorinated water, and the fluoride. People are being exposed to that every single day without realizing, wait a minute, you're destroying this microbiome, which we don't even have time to go into how that can lead to heart disease and cancer and all of that. Can you expand any more on those three chemicals and what they do?
Chlorine is like bleach. So think of it like the bleach. So it's going to kill the good bacteria that are nourishing and that our body needs. And then you're going to swallow the water and then it kills all the bacteria in your gut. So we're constant, even if you don't take an antibiotic, you've got to watch for that, of course.
Mhm.
Then the brominated food, and fluoride. The best thing I could tell patients to do is filter their water, but then they'll go, some people will take the little lazy trip around and go, well, I'll just do distilled water. I'm like, no, 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 no. God actually intended our water to have minerals and spring water and things like life-giving water. He is the living water. Another thing is mouth breathing and not breathing through the nostrils like God intended, but a lot of people will not even unaware. I'll say, you're mouth breathing. They're going, no, I don't. And I guess they think of Napoleon Dynamite and go, and that changes the pH of the microbiome. And that can cause decay because it can make your body a little bit more acidic. One thing I think for your listeners, if they want to make sure their pH in their mouth is good, they can just buy pH strips from Amazon, and they're little test strips, and you can see you should have it around about a 7. 6.8 to 7 would be a good pH for your mouth, and that's good for you to see, hey, where am I? What am I doing? Is it good? Because some people may not be at a biological dentist that does that. Now, when patients come in, we do test their saliva, but that mineral content, that salt, that we are the salt. Salt is mentioned in the Bible, and it needs to be a little minerally salty. So we have to intake a good salt, and that will help us as well with not having decay issues. And that saliva will be life-giving, and all those little bacteria that are in there can do all the things that they need to. Do you know that there's a Streptococcus mutans, that's what causes decay, and we test for that. But there's another Strep salivarius that attacks that. So we have a microbiome, and when we eat fermented foods, that's usually in the fermented foods. So going back to that episode and learning
Mhm.
about fermented foods will help nourish and bless the teeth where they don't have to have decay. So those little things that a patient can do. I know I went away from the chlorine, fluorine, and bromine. Those, like I said, attack the thyroid, and the thyroid and the parathyroid, and affects the calcium and where the body is on that. And then that'll cause the teeth to be more vulnerable to decay because the calcium gets in the wrong spot. And then we need magnesium. There's a lot that I go through with patients on that. But once we get them going, they usually will end up doing really, really, really good.
That's excellent, and that is so promising to everyone who's watching and listening is that this is something they can actually do. So we brought in the fermented foods to help reset that pH in the mouth and to get that microbiome going good. And then what about the fillings? I mean, you talked about the mercury and just the whole Mad Hatter's disease, and people seem to have forgotten history and what that is. But I think it's excellent that you brought that back up, is how people are still suffering from those symptoms because of the fillings in their mouth and being the mercury fillings. Anything else you want to touch on with that?
Oh, yeah. I can go on mercury for a long time, but let's think about when we were little, when we were young. We had mercury thermometers. Now they have the little thermometer
Yes.
that goes up there. Well, we had them, and they were glass, and they had a piece of a little ball of mercury in there. And if we would break it, the mercury would spill everywhere.
Mhm.
And I remember doing that one time with my mom, and she was, oh, don't touch that. That's bad and everything. Fast forward a few years, and we're opening the little capsule, and it has one side has a powder in it that has silver, some other metals, shavings, like a powder. And then the other side has a ball of mercury. No joke. It's bigger than the mercury that was in the little thermometer that we use to put under our arm or in our rectum. Or in our mouth, whichever way that our moms took our temperature. And for some reason, when you mix it with the with the with the powdered shavings, it's all good and it's healthy and everything. But it's not, people. It still has a vapor. Even though it's mixed, we put it in this little thing called a wiggle bug. And then before the little triturator or wiggle bug would come in, they used to mix those, the dentist would, and most dentists have issues now that did a lot with mercury. and put it in a cheesecloth and squeeze it together and then put it in your mouth. So it's like, it looks like a little piece of Mercury Play-Doh. And then we put it in your mouth or the tooth, and then we would carve it, and then we would come back in dental school and have to polish it. And it would have to be so shiny so it wouldn't corrode and everything. That was the most dangerous thing we could do for a patient then, because we were creating even more vapor on ourselves, on our assistant, and on the patient. But chewing stimulates the vapor, and then it disrupts. So some people they don't have a big issue because their body can detox. Others has an issue on detoxing, and detoxing goes along with how you get rid of mercury is through the stool. And a lot of people are constipated, so it's building up in their body, and it builds up in your brain mostly, and does damage to your kidneys, as well as other things. Then you think about the stomach acid, and then if you're doing a chemistry experiment, mercury displaces zinc, and zinc is very important for the stomach to produce acid. So if you've got a negative and a positive, you're nulling out that zinc that's needed. So that leads to people having very weakened stomach acid, that therefore they can't digest food, and it leads to a whole bunch of problems. With weakened stomach acid is a epidemic, and most people will go to protein pump inhibitors or Nexium, Pepcid, Tums, and all that to even weaken it further. And it's not that. God made this little sphincter here that goes from the esophagus to the stomach, and it closes off at a pH of 1 to 2, because that's how strong that stomach acid has to be to break down food. Well, when it's just a little bit weaker, it will open that valve because it thinks, oh, well, I don't have to protect this esophagus from that. So when that it's a reflux, and I can see it in the teeth, on erosion on the teeth. Patients will also have issues with it. You see those people that are constantly clearing their throat. Well, that's most of the time a clear indication of their weakened stomach acid. One thing I tell my patients to do when they come in is a burp test before they come in for their new patient appointment on their patient works. Like, I need you to do a few things. And one of them is a burp test, where all I do is say, I want you to get 4 ounces of water and put a quarter teaspoon of baking soda in that water. And when you wake up in the morning, first thing before you brush your teeth or do anything, I want you to drink that water. And I want you to set your timer on your phone. And I want you to see how long it takes for you to burp. And I don't mean a little burp, but I mean a big, nice, hearty belch. Like you would be so happy that you belched this in this belching contest. Kind of like if we were to pour baking soda and vinegar together, and you would have a big explosion. So that's what we want. We want to create all of that gas from that bubbling. But if our stomach acid is weak, we're not going to burp. And so after about 3 to 5 minutes is when I want you to be able to do that big burp. I have patients coming in here and like, I never did. So how can we fix that? And then we can go into that. So that's how important getting that mercury out. And there's a safe way to do it, because it can be very burdensome and dangerous on people's systems if they don't do it safely. Unfortunately, that has to be done. But there's dentists out there, and everybody's near one that can do that. I know there's a couple of my friends that are in Virginia near you that are really excellent biological dentists that do that safely. Yes, that needs to be addressed too when they're trying to restore their health.
So good. So good. Well, you have shared with us several good takeaways and simple things, even including the burp test. Okay, what's going on in your digestive system? And then definitely if you don't have the right pH in your stomach, then doing just simple things of resetting your pH, eating the fermented foods, drinking lemon water, even using digestive enzymes when they eat to help to do the breakdown that the pH is not at the adequate level to help with. So just simple things like that. So I appreciate that. All right. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this today. We have some amazing takeaways, and I just want to thank you so much. And then, yes, I will be seeing you at the Need Your Cure conference in August. So I'm excited about that. And what was the dates for that again?
There it is August 14th and 15th here in Oxford, Mississippi.
Yeah, so I will be doing some breakout sessions there, and we'll also have our vendor booth there where we're going to do some fun foodie experiments. And I just love being a part of that group. It's just such a young, vibrant group, totally understanding the need for young moms and all ages to just, hey, it's time to take back our health and time to just reclaim all of the generations and just to see God's healing take place. So I look forward to seeing you at the Need Your Cure event. And for anyone we'll put a link to that down below, just in case you catch this video after the event happened. There's always another one coming up in the next year, so you might want to take advantage of that. So thank you, Dr. Edwards, for being a
Thanks
part
for
of this.
having me.
Such a blessing, and I know everyone's going to appreciate this, so thank you very much. Hello, friends. I'm Annette Reeder from thebiblicalnutritionist.com, and I am so excited to invite you to join me this August 14th and 15th at the Need Your Cure conference in Oxford, Mississippi. Have you ever just felt stuck in your journey? You're doing everything right, but you're just not seeing the breakthrough that you've been praying for. Well, I believe these sessions are going to encourage and equip you in a powerful way. In my first presentation, Breakthrough Beliefs, we're going to rewrite that inner script. We're going to stop interfering with the healing and the weight loss. And we're going to uncover the hidden thoughts and beliefs that may be standing between you and the health God desires for you. So often the battle isn't on the plate, it's in our mind. And we're going to explore how beliefs shape our choices, our habits, and even the ability to receive the healing and the lasting transformation. You're going to walk away saying, that's not me anymore. I've been set free. Then we're going to dive into a question that has charged my life and changed it. Can you really trust the Bible for your health? Well, together we're going to explore what Scripture really says about food, health, healing, and God's design for the body. We're going to look at biblical wisdom that has stood the test of time and discover how modern science continues to affirm the principles God wrote to us thousands of years ago. So whether you're struggling with weight loss, chronic health concerns, low energy, just simply wanting to honor God with your health, these sessions are going to give you practical tools, biblical encouragement, and a renewed sense of hope. If you see this video and you sign up for the Need Your Cure conference, please email us at admin@thebiblicalnutritionist.com before the event, because we are going to bring you a special gift. We look forward to joining you there. I'd love to meet you in person, worship together, learn together, and encourage each other towards God's recipe for excellent health. Join me August, Need Your Cure, Oxford, Mississippi. This is Annette Reeder. See you there.